The department says the changes will ensure that government rapidly intervenes in the provision of sustainable human settlements for all. Let's take you live to that briefing.
Tepiso Kobile as a board member, Mr. Paul Higa as a board member, Mr. Tulani Mabaso as a board member, Mr. Kadi Palisa, Ms. Kadi Palisa as a board member, Ms. Tembisile Triliza as a board member, Ms. Sitati Bolimpopo as a board member. I'm well aware that the appointment of boards does not automatically bring stability to the entities. However, it is an important step to the right direction. I take this opportunity to thank the outgoing board for all their work, contribution, dedication, and sacrifice that they've made over the years in ensuring that we build the foundations that we have at NHFC, and wish them well in their future endeavors. I have over time, as well as we talk about the issues of the entities, understood that we have to ensure that there's corporate governance and compliance with good governance protocols. And that's why the appointment of the boards are a very critical step towards ensuring that we have effectively functioning of entities, but accountability that can be done, and the separation between what the accounting authorities and the executive authority is able to take as a responsibility and account to the nation. One of the areas that remains a sore point for me is the vacancies that exist within these entities in terms of executive level and other technical skills that are required. And this is one of the areas that I've requested the boards to focus on and ensure that they fast track the appointment of those executives and appoint especially senior leaders in this. And I'm looking forward to seeing the board making sure that they reach these objectives as soon as possible, as in yesterday, because without leadership that is able to take responsibility, that is able to account, we will not be able to achieve the objectives that we want. One of the others that I've asked is to ensure that the entities, in terms of their boards, ensure that we have the structures, organizational structures, that are suitable to achieving the objectives, are fit for purpose, and with the right technical skills that will assist us to be able to reach our objectives, but maximum of our potential as a sector. Due to long periods of poor leadership and instability in some of these entities, unfortunately, a disruptive culture has germinated within some of these entities. I'm speaking of a culture of rumor-mongering, a culture of fictitious grievances, a culture of media leaks, and substantiated and frivolous whistleblowing that has taken the root cause of this portfolio. I'm a firm believer that we must deal decisively with wrongdoing and corruption. However, channels for exposing such should not be abused for agendas that have nothing to do with fighting wrongdoing and corruption. Since arriving in this portfolio, I have been bombarded with allegations and counter-allegations of corruption, which are then leaked to the media. What is common about these allegations is that no evidence in most of these things is provided to substantiate and guarantee or even afford me as the executive authority an opportunity to respond to or institute processes. And yet I have to spend more hours going through media inquiries, going through these allegations, going through these documents without supporting evidence. In one incident just to share, I received same questions that I had to respond to from 7 journalists. You can imagine the amount of time that you have to verify from 7 journalists at a go in one day. These questions, and then at the end you realize they are all the same. And all this, I'm saying, not negating the importance of the media role in assisting us to protect our democracy, to fight corruption, because over years we've seen how media has been able to assist us in fighting corruption and blowing the whistle in where wrongdoings have been done. I want to appeal to my media colleagues to at least when sources give you information, try and get just basic evidence of it so that we are able to help each other as partners in fighting corruption to be able to have fruitful and productive working environment. The stabilization effort has also been made difficult by the existence of well-entrenched patronage and corruption networks that are putting up a huge fight against the stabilization effort. This comes across as you try and put systems in place. Sometimes you see it with the questions that you receive, that this is a fight back against what we are trying to do as putting systems, because where there are no systems, it allows for wrongdoing to happen. And I want to say, my commitment in fighting corruption, my commitment in protecting whistleblowers, my commitment in ensuring that there's value for money to all South Africans in the human settlement can be questioned, and I remain firm on it. But I need all of you to help me in ensuring that we are not distracted from the real work in ensuring that service delivery happen to the people of South Africa. I wish for the new board in terms of the work, I wish for the new board to be given space to focus on the task of stabilizing the entities of which they are responsible and not to be occupied with conducting investigations for which they are hardly capable of conducting. I have therefore decided that I will be approaching Special Investigation Unit to conduct an investigation in all our entities where there are claims of wrongdoing and corruption. We'll provide them with some of the documents that we have in the entirety of the portfolio so that they are able to sift whether some of these issues, because they will have capability and the know-how of doing this without us interfering with the work, but not being distracted at the task at hand. I have said elsewhere that wrongdoing and corruption will be dealt with without fear or favor. And I encourage those with this evidence to be able to provide this evidence to us through the SIU. As I said, I will be engaging, I have started engaging Advocate Mutiba to do a preliminary assessment whether some of these things warrant. As you know, the process with SIU, they will do an assessment, put together a report, and submit to the president for a proclamation. So you don't start with a proclamation. You start with preliminary assessment, because as I'm saying, some of the documents that we receive, some of this information that we receive do not have any supporting evidence, and we have no capacity to determine whether this is correct, this is right, this is information that is valid or not, and they will be able to assist us in that regard. So that's why I'm encouraging those South Africans that have the information, those employees that say they have information, provide us with that information through SIU so that we can be able to get this done, over and done with, and we protect the funds, we protect the integrity of the state, and we protect our work, but allow us to be able to focus in delivering human settlements priorities. In conclusion, we are a government that cares and committed to restoring the dignity of the people through the provision of sustainable human settlements. We are doing all of this knowing very well that we will still have so much work to do for security and comfort to be realized by all. Our commitment to those that have been waiting for their houses is that we shall deliver on our houses. Please be patient with us as we fix the problems where you have identified them, as we deal with the feedback that you have given us. Each day we have objectives, we have a target, we have a team that is dedicated in human settlements to ensuring that work is done, that targets are met, that we respond to what you have called us to do in serving you as a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister.
And there you have it, the Minister of Human Settlements, Mmamoloko Kubai, giving new policy adjustments to how the department will be approaching the provision of housing going forward. A quick break. You're watching The Agenda. We'll be back in a moment.